Welcome. Here is a rundown of war in Ukraine. Cleverly pledges further winter support on Ukraine visit. UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly has announced a package of hands-on support to help Ukraine through the winter while on a visit to the war-torn nation. The UK will send 35 more emergency vehicles, including 24 ambulances and 6 armoured vehicles, to the country. And a further £3 million will be provided for the rebuilding of local infrastructure including schools and shelters, as well as additional funding to support survivors of sexual assault. Mr. Cleverly was due to meet President Volodymyr Zelenskyy during his visit, which comes days after Prime Minister Rishi Sunak traveled to Kyiv. He said, as winter sets in, Russia is continuing to try and break Ukrainian resolve through its brutal attacks on civilians, hospitals and energy infrastructure. Russia will fail. Kherson suffers heaviest bombardment since city was liberated. 4 people have been killed outside a coffee shop and a woman was killed next to her house in the southern city, witnesses told Associated Press reporters. In total, local authorities said 7 people died and 21 were wounded in the attack. It was the most intense attack on Kherson since the city was liberated by Ukrainian forces 2 weeks ago. And Zelenskyy says there will not be lasting peace until Crimea is returned to Ukraine. Ukraine's president has remained insistent that Russia should be pushed out of all his country's territory, including Crimea. Western leaders have backed Ukraine in repelling Russian forces since the invasion began in February, but Volodymyr Zelenskyy wants to go further and take back territory first occupied by Russia in 2014. Speaking to the Financial Times, Mr. Zelenskyy said, "We must return all lands, because I believe that the battlefield is the way when there is no diplomacy. If you can't get your land back entirely, the war is simply frozen. It's a question of time before it resumes." He also acknowledged that the fate of Crimea is rising up the agenda internationally. If the solution does not involve deoccupation and Crimea is part of the Russian Federation, no one should waste their time on this. It's a waste of time, he said.